Welcome back to Peace, Love and Tarot. This reading is for Leo, Sun, Moon or Rising, and it's the weekly reading for the week of July 22nd to the 28th. Your cards this week, Leo, energies leaving, completing or transitioning. You have the King of Swords. Focus energies this week, you have the Queen of Swords and the Ace of Swords. And we have Temperance in reverse coming in towards the end of the week. So Leo, what I'm really hearing here for you, just seeing the amount of swords in the reading, it really is a bit of a sword fest. The message that I'm hearing is make sure they're swords of power, swords of victory, not swords of the battle, right? So this is all about, you might have access to these kind of tools, the sword this week, but make sure that it's being used appropriately, right? So King of Swords in your recent past. This is about somebody who is stepping into their power and thinking clearly, seeing the truth, seeing things clearly and logically. This is somebody who is really grounded and mature and authoritarian and dominant in a way. Somebody who can, cut through the crap basically, cut through and cut away things that aren't serving them anymore. So Leo, maybe you've been going through a period of addressing the past, cutting yourself free of the ties and the binds that have kept you, kept opportunities from coming in for you, or kept you, swords being the suit of the intellect, things that have kept you in a not so great place mentally. That's what I'm seeing. This is you like taking that sword of power and coming back into a place where you're much more mentally in control and you have that sense of mental stability. And we see that theme really does carry on here this week with the Queen of Swords here, Leo. It can also, this is a tarot couple here, a soul match. It can also allude to something happening in your relationship. I know Leo is a fire sign, but when we have a couple here, it can definitely indicate your relationship. Or you may be surrounded by air signs. That is completely on the table here as well. But Queen of Swords again is somebody who is a real truth seeker and has those same qualities of the King of Swords. She also links to the Justice card. She has that sword of power. So it's all about when you have that sword of power, actually wielding it appropriately. Because behind here, we've got even more swords here, guys. Look at this, the Knight of Swords as well. They're all here. What's really interesting here, Leo, is you have two knights. So you have the Knight of Pentacles and you have the Knight of Swords. Now, these two knights couldn't be more different from each other, right? The Knight of Swords is the fastest moving knight in the tarot deck. He, is very, very sort of hasty almost. He's sort of galloping along through life, maybe galloping so fast that he sort of treads over others, or in that mode, he could come across as being a little harsh, a little brash, maybe, communicating in a way that isn't well received. And then we have the Knight of Pentacles, who is slow and efficient and methodical and, does all the preparatory groundwork to then start bringing in success. So, I think this really could be a message to, maybe you're feeling like you're going between these two states of being, between these two paces, between, things are either all on and you're charging forth, or, they're very, very slow and almost to a stop. So I think this week the message is to try and come into a place of steady balance. That's the Queen of Swords. She's in a place of steady balance. She can, and she sort of has that sort of poise about her, and she's much more grounded in her energetic center. And that's what I'm seeing here for you. So, but also, taking on the reminders of that Knight of Swords to keep laying your foundation and, doing your preparatory work for new opportunities to come in, which we can see here with the Ace of Swords. But just remembering not to run before you can walk, and not sort of being compelled to charge forth. Otherwise, then, you might miss some of the important steps of laying the groundwork. Yeah. Because when we, and look, just with those cards as well, and this sort of relationship here that we have here, there is the potential for, that there has been sort of, harshness in a relationship, or, not seeing clearly in the past, but you're really sort of stepping into a place of power where, you are able to have that sense of clarity. And when you have that sense of clarity and you're in that place of power, like the King and Queen of Swords definitely are, that opens you to opportunities here with the Ace of Swords. And it's almost like, with these two here, maybe in the past you have a temptation to, when things get tough, at work or at home or whatever, the first thing you do is, draw that sword, draw that gun, and get ready for battle, to go into battle with the people that you're closest with, whether it's your colleagues or your partner. But, through doing that, that also blocks opportunities. I know that's a bit of a left field meaning here, but that's what I'm really seeing. So I feel like if we look at the direction here, these two people have that sword at the ready, whereas the Ace of Swords has the downward turned sword. So I feel like what this is asking you to do this week, Leo, is to turn down your sword. You don't have to put it away. Maybe turn it down so you still have that power and that intellectual tool at your disposal, but you're not ready to use it for battle. And I think from turning down that sword, that is stepping away from hastiness, arguments, that sort of thing, being more in the preparatory stages and laying your foundation. That's when opportunities can come in for you. So, we have that Knight of Pentacles, who also speaks of opportunity, but the Ace of Swords is, this is a mental breakthrough. So it's potential through all this kind of, truth-seeking that you've been doing, and, stepping away from the element of battle and more into your seat of power. That's when the breakthroughs happen. So that Ace of Swords is really the seeds of a strong new idea, a breakthrough, even extreme mental clarity. I think that's where it's going to lead you to. Now, towards the end of the week, Leo, you do have a little bit of a shift from this, and here we have the Moon card with Temperance in reverse. So, here we see out of balance energy. So, we really need to keep coming back to these reminders of staying grounded, staying centered, and seeing things for what they are. No matter what situation it is, it's hard to tell because it's a general reading. But the Moon, especially with this Temperance in reverse, can talk about being out of balance emotionally. Like here we have the wild wolf and the tame dog, right? So it's almost like the two sides of yourself, the shadow side and the conscious side, And I feel like in a normal person, in a functioning sort of healthy person, these two sides are still there because we've all got them, but they're in balance and they're not competing for power with each other. But with Temperance, which really is a card of, healing and rebalancing and restoring, with that in reverse, I think we see these two sides of yourself being out of alignment. Now, the King of Queen of Swords, wouldn't allow that to happen. So it's a reminder for you to step back from that Knight of Swords energy, slow things down. Maybe that's when you need to go into your Knight of Pentacles mode. Slow things down and come back into a place of energetic alignment so that you can, carry on with this theme of seeing things clearly and allowing those breakthroughs to come through. So, towards the end of the week, there could be just a little bump on the road along that journey, but this is your reminder to get back into that clarity, back into that truth-seeking energy. So that's your message for this week, Leo. It's a little bit of a different one there for you, but I do think that great things are happening here with the Ace of Swords and all that sort of clarity energy. We just have to remember to stay balanced, don't swing like a pendulum between, that almost too slow energy of the Knight of Pentacles and that really, really fast, hasty energy. Come into a place of balance by, let's say we can turn the Temperance card around. That's your key to remaining calm, remaining stable, and healing yourself and restoring, as we could definitely do with a lot more of that. So Leo, that's your reading this week. Keep in mind it is a general reading. It won't resonate for every Leo out there, and I'll see you for another reading next week.